Dear all, so we are going to start with the summary of chapter number 3. Chapter number 3, what is it? It is risk assessment and internal control. Yes, it is a mixture of both essays and also other topics. Let's start. Yes. So, yeah, as we said, chapter number 3. Okay, chapter number 3, risk assessment and internal control. When you hear about risk assessment, which essay will come to your mind? It is essay 315 and it is essay 330. In essay 315, you will, two words, identify and what assess risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity and its environment. And in 330, you will respond. Now, in this chapter, one more essay is there, which is essay 320. How and what it is. We won't respond to every risk, we will respond mainly to material risk. So 320 deals with materiality. Materiality in dash and dash of audit. What? Materiality in planning and performing of audit. Okay. So basically, in chapter number 3, we have 3 essays, which is 315, risk assessment, 330, respond, and 320, material. Okay. Starting with chapter number 3, and the weightage is what ICA says is somewhere around 8 to 12 marks, 8 to 12 percentage. First one is regarding audit risk. As we say audit risk, it is primarily essay 315 and reference is also there in essay 200. Audit risk cannot be reduced to 0 because we give only reasonable assurance. It's not an absolute assurance nor a guarantee. Inherent limitations of audit. Now, audit risk has 3 components: inherent risk, detection risk, and control risk. Okay, so I will write like this: inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. So inherent risk is the susceptible risk, control risk is the control fails to detect, prevent, correct misstatements, detection risk is audit procedure fails. These together we call it as risk of material misstatement. This is detection risk is divided into sampling risk and non-sampling risk. Sampling, SA 530. Okay. Now, what relationship is there between risk of material misstatement and detection risk? It is how related these two are inversely related. Now, what is audit risk? Audit risk is the risk that auditor expresses an inappropriate opinion when FS has material misstatement. So auditor expresses an what opinion? Inappropriate opinion, wrong opinion, inappropriate opinion when FS are materially misstated. So that's about the audit risk summary. Now moving on to the second one, which is materiality. Materiality, it is essay 320. When an item is said to be material, from AS1 you are hearing about materiality. Item is said to be material if it affects users' decision making. Now, users of what? Users of course, FS. Which users you will take? Common users and not specific users. Now, materiality is fixed based on auditor's professional judgment, APJ, auditor's professional judgment. Now, materiality is also a matter of AFRF, applicable financial reporting framework. Say, for example, Schedule 3 has materiality. Not only that, materiality is also depending upon the nature, size, or both of the entity. Now, what relationship between materiality and audit risk? Materiality and audit risk are inversely related. Higher the materiality, lower the audit risk. Now, moving on to the next, which is auditors' responses to assess risk. Auditors' responses is nothing but SA 330. In SA 315, for risk assessment, we will be performing RAP, risk assessment procedure. For responses, we will be performing FAP, further audit procedure. This further audit procedure is comprising of test of controls, and we have what? Substantive audit procedure. In substantive audit procedure, what we have? Test of details, and you have substantive analytical procedure. Analytical procedure. Analytical procedure, SA 520. Now, test of details has test of transactions and test of balances. Now, why do you perform further audit procedures? To reduce what? Already assessed risk. Assessed risk as per SA 315 to an acceptable low level. So 315 you will identify and assess risk, whereas 330 you will respond so as to reduce the risk to an acceptable low level by performing further audit procedures. Right. So as we already said in this chapter 315, identifying and assessing risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity and its environment. 330, auditors' responses to assess the risk, and 320, materiality in planning and performing the audit. 3 essays. 315, 320, and 330. Now moving on to the next topic, which is internal control. Internal control is the policy which is designed, implemented, maintained by management, TCWG, other personnel for reasonable assurance of 4 things: reliability of financial reporting, efficiency and effectiveness of operations, safeguarding of assets, and compliance of law. What? Internal control without compliance of law, right? Now, internal control mainly has 4 objectives. First, whether transactions are properly authorized, whether those transactions are properly recorded, authorized, recorded, assets are safeguarded, safeguarding of assets, and assets comparison, physically compared. Then we have 4 tools for evaluation or checking of controls, which is narrative record, checklist, questionnaire, flowchart. Then, internal control has certain limitations such as collusion among the employees, abuse of power by the management, lack of proper understanding. All these are certain few limitations of control, and there is a sentence. Satisfactory control environment is not an absolute deterrent to fraud, but it is a positive factor in assessing the risk of material misstatement. So basically, for testing the control, we perform test of control. If there is a weakness in internal control, we will be communicating with management and TCWG as per SA. From here, route may go to SA 265, where you will communicate to management and TCWG through letter of weakness. Now, internal control has 5 components. Okay. Control environment, risk assessment procedure, information system, monitoring, and entities control activity. Okay. Now, I'm just jumping over to here. Internal controls under your Companies Act 2013. Yeah, there are mainly 4 places, which is Board of Directors are the persons who are ultimately responsible for controls. So under section 134 under board's report. Then 143(3)(I), that we have to study IFC, auditor's report. This is board, this is auditor. 177, come on, audit committee has to see the controls. And also 149, independent director. Now finally going to the last part, which is automated environment or digital audit. Now digital audit means auditing with the help of computer. So yes, which is computer assisted audit techniques, computer aided audit techniques. Use of CAT has mainly increased the efficiency, effectiveness, quality of audit, time saving. So digital audit, auditing of usual audit itself, but by using the computers. Okay. Now regarding the automated environments, automated environment is significant to the audit. Now, automated environment is an environment in which decisions, process, operations, including the accounting, okay, are carried out by computer. Now, here we have to study, is automated environment relevant? Yeah, it is relevant. Why? As per say 315, we have to understand the entity and its environment. Automated environment also you should be able to understand. Once you understand how it affects the phases of audit, yeah, planning phase, what is the impact? Performing phase, what is the impact? Completion phase, what is the impact? Now, how it will affect the audit procedure, that you have to see. How it will affect test of controls, how it will affect substantive procedure, how it will affect the reporting. Then very important, controls in an automated environment. There are three controls: general control, application control, IT dependent control. Finally, there we are talking about data analytics, where we use the CAT. So guys, this is the summary of chapter number 3, which is dealing with risk assessment and internal control. Yes, as I've told you already, 3 essays are there, which is 315, 320, 330, 300 series essays, very conceptual essays and easy to study also. And internal control is there, plus the automated environment. Okay. So it's a chapter that requires conceptual understanding of the topics, where you will be familiar with the risk assessment, how to respond, mainly about internal control and the automated environment. So do that chapter properly and especially concentrate on the audit risk element very well. All the best.